This week in comic books from DC, we get this all in Aquaman. Not an Aquaman fan, but there is something interesting going on with this Pearl thing. We'll talk about that in its relationship, what I think to be to the absolute universe. In Marvel, we get a couple of number ones, more importantly, new champions. We'll chit-chat that up. And in Independence, Transformers, and a very weird book from Xenoscope. We're going to talk about all those and a few others, but first I have to try to sell you some coffee, so check this out. DC Vampires World War V. I've been enjoying this. I think this is a fun book to read. And in this one, we kind of get to the climax. What's the big battle in this one? And what it is Scott Free, or Mr. Miracle, and his baby get dragged underwater by vampire Aquaman. Right? And the assumption is that they're dead. Well, the problem is people often forget who Mr. Miracle's dad is. Darkseid. And Darkseid showed up. Darkseid's not happy. And he sees no reason for this world to exist if his kid and grandchild aren't in it. So what's going to happen next? That's where it kind of dropped us off at. I just love this. This would be great in a trade paperback once it's done, if you can't catch up on the issues of it. And it's just a fun sit-down read off to the side when a bunch of stuff going on. Definitely a pretty solid pickup. I've been enjoying this. I can't wait for the conclusion. And I hope Darkseid just loses his mind on vampires. Like, we see that happen. Be kind of cool. Batman Dark Pattern. So I reviewed the first issue of this and I really like it. It has a really creepy undertone to it. This is issue number 2. We still don't know who the Wounded Man is, but we are starting to get some clues that he has something to do with like doctoring, I guess is the best way, right? Like there's some medical knowledge there. Even the pathologist that Gotham just hired, who just happens to like to sniff the chemicals in his lab, he's one of those guys, is very fascinated by all of this as well. Just the creepiness, mystery of this whole thing is enough to get this. And this is why I really enjoy it and why it's in my favorites list. I would definitely, if you like creepy mysteries, bam, this has got it for you. This nails, spikes all through this guy, just hanging out right near those vitals. And how Batman decided to capture him was kind of interesting as well. Really shows a little creativity there. So yeah, definitely a must pick up. New Champions number 1 comes out. And this is an okay book. It's on the favorites because I can get it. I understand it. It's fun. But it's really not made for me. This is made for that younger generation of readers that are coming out there. A lot of relatability, I'm sure, to it, with a cast of characters ranging all different types of personalities, and a little bit of an amalgamation. Like, the main character here is kind of a crossover between, of course, given the stripes, you can pretty much tell that out. That's Ms. Marvel's little deal there. But he also acts like Brewster Gold at the same time. So, like, everybody's kind of like this kind of weird mixture of characters in it with your standard trope type stuff in it. I think it's great to have this for younger readers so they can see tropes for themselves, kind of unfold, and kind of get a variance of characters. Although not something I am going to be following, I can see the benefit to other people out there. Especially younger people that want to get into comic books. Probably very fun and right up their alley. Transformers, number 16. So this is a great issue because it reminded me of the Combiner Wars. You may remember that from IDW, where they were talking about all the different Transformers that can build bigger robots. You get a great epic battle in here. The Decepticons are kind of fractured right now, but Megatron is coming back, we find out. So that's kind of cool as well. And we get a little bit more of the disasters and everything that's happening on their home planet as well. And we get this kind of spirit of man inside of Optimus Prime, kind of jacking him up a little bit. So that's kind of interesting. I'm really enjoying this. Still solid. 16 issues in. I'm on. Like, getting into a new arc. I'm on board. Definitely keep that train going. Aquaman, number 1, all in. I'm just not an Aquaman fan. And this is a completely selfish channel here when I talk about the things that I like and don't like on it. I'm just not an Aquaman fan. In the All In universe, as we've been mentioning, it has to keep being mentioned. A lot of the superheroes' powers have kind of either gone away or swapped or been added. Everything's just a mess right now. And it's starting to get annoying. But Aquaman in this one has Mira's powers, his wife's powers, right? He can control water now, like make water flow and all this other weird stuff. I just don't care. Like that still does not make him interesting to me. And we get a kind of a callback to a MacGuffin that's going to be placed into the universe now. It's this magical ocean orb thing. It's really just a giant pearl. So that makes things kind of interesting because I believe, and this is only speculation on my part, this is going to be our connecting piece to get into the absolute universe world where our heroes are eventually going to meet, because that's kind of the power set that we're dealing with, this particular MacGuffin. So I think that's our connecting piece. If you're that kind of reader out there and you want major things that kind of connect things, right, as a key issue, this may be a book for you, but unfortunately the series is not for me. Magic. Again, superficial review here. Magic #1 pops off if you're a fan of the New Warriors and you like some of the earlier stuff with magic in it. That's pretty much what you're going to be getting in here. Huge call out to her past, where she came from, because they got to update you every new issue, and then kind of where it's leading us into in Alaska, because there's an X-Men base in Alaska. She's attached to them, and it also kind of brings up this kind of weird fallacy that a lot of people often have, where you're a hard individual and you soften up a little bit and bad things start happening, so your thought process is, well, it's because I softened up. You connect, right? Will that be the case in here? I hope that fallacy gets torn apart, because it's not true, right? Just because you were something in the past doesn't mean you need to consistently be that thing in the past. You should always strive to do better. So let's see if our character learns that in this, instead of just being a hard ass all the time. Got Absolute Batman. This is issue 4. Unfortunately, this is in the bad list because it's an unnecessary issue. It's an in-between issue, just kind of explaining more of Bruce Wayne's childhood and his kind of showing us the difference between the way he grew up in this universe versus the Batman that we all know and love, being from a rich family, and his ingenuity and his fascination with bats and where it all came from. That's great. So be it. But again, did it need to be a whole book in itself? Probably not really at all. It was like year 1 for Absolute Batman, which if this book kicks off, they'll just do a year 1 anyway. It's from Zenoscope. It's Terror and Fury. And it took me a minute while I was reading through this, that while some things looked familiar, other things were just kind of off. And really, these are just some Golden Age characters that are in the public domain now. And they threw them together to fight monsters and zombies while not realizing that they themselves are legitimate zombies. Super serum bullshit is all it really was. So that's your comic book haul and review this week. What did you pick up? What did I miss? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. And I'll catch y'all next week. Oh, I hurt my hand. I know that's going to be a question. So yeah, I hurt my hand. I'm building something to Evil Lair. We're going to have a project this month. I took December off, and a grinder hit me in the hand. No big deal. We'll still get it out at the end of the month. So I hope to see you guys over there too. Talk to y'all later. Bye.